हरेक वर्षको डिसेम्बर 5 लाई अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्वयंसेवक दिवसका रूपमा मनाइन्छ। विशेषतः UNV को सक्रियता र समन्वयमा मनाइने यो दिवसको सन्दर्भ पारेर UNV का एक्जिक्युटिभ कोअर्डिनेटर ओलिभर आदमसँग हामीले एक विशेष कुराकानी गरेका छौं। प्रस्तुत छ उहाँसँग गरिएको कुराकानीका आधारमा तयार गरिएको यो रिपोर्ट। डिसेम्बर 5 तारिखलाई विश्वभरि नै विश्व स्वयंसेवी दिवस मनाउने गरिन्छ। यो सन्दर्भमा नेपालमा पनि विविध कार्यक्रमहरू सम्पन्न भएका छन्। UNV को समन्वयमा काठमाडौँमा आयोजित कार्यक्रममा संयुक्त राष्ट्रसङ्घका नेपाली स्वयंसेवीहरूलाई अवार्ड समेत प्रदान गरिएको छ। विश्वभरि यो दिवस मनाइरहँदा UNV का एक्जिक्युटिभ कोअर्डिनेटर ओलिभर आदम नेपाल आउनु भएको थियो। नेपाल सांस्कृतिक र सामाजिक रूपमा पनि स्वयंसेवी भावना र अभ्यास भएको मुलुक भएकाले यस वर्षको विश्व स्वयंसेवी दिवस नेपालमै मनाउने उद्देश्यले आफू नेपाल आएको उहाँको भनाइ छ।
You know, Nepal has traditionally been a country where volunteerism has been part of the culture. And the theme of this year, International Voluntary Day, is really UN set by the United Nations and the group of volunteer organizations to honor the volunteers that are working as first responders in case of disasters. And obviously here in Nepal you've been struck by two disasters, the famous earthquake of April, two earthquakes actually, of 2015 and the floods of 2017. And in both occasions we've seen volunteers from the communities and also international volunteers and all the volunteer involving organizations step up to respond as first responders. And these efforts are still continuing. So I wanted to come here to honor the volunteers in Nepal and the work we're doing also very jointly with volunteer organizations in Nepal for their work for these two catastrophes.
नेपालमा सन् 2015 मा गएको विनाशकारी भूकम्पका समयमा समेत UN भोलिन्टियरहरूले नेपाल सरकार र प्रभावित समुदायलाई सहयोग गरेको भन्दै उहाँले पुनर्निर्माणलाई गतिशील बनाउन पनि नेपाल पुनर्निर्माण प्राधिकरणसँग मिलेर काम गरिरहेको जानकारी दिनुभयो।
The real first responders is generally the local communities, the people that are there, that sees that there's an issue that they have to solve. The United Nations volunteer came at slightly later when there was a call for volunteers to support with two aspects. First one was debris removal to ensure that as fast as possible debris can be taken out, and also infrastructure assessed to see if there was still any lingering danger. And the reconstruction efforts, which are now being stepped up, as you know, by the National Reconstruction Authority, which has really would like to step up reconstruction fast. And for this there's need to capacities of engineering, masons and workers that are able and are also adapting to the new codes that have been established to ensure that if another earthquake strikes Nepal, that the housing will be more stable and the structures. So we also ensure and support with compliance to codes, design of new structures and monitor constructions.
UNV ले नेपालमा स्थानीय विकासका लागि अन्य थुप्रै पक्षसँग मिलेर काम गरिरहेको छ। खास गरी गरिब, सीमान्तकृत र पिछडिएका वर्ग र क्षेत्रको सर्वपक्षीय विकासमा UNV ले सघाइरहेको बताइएको छ।
The United Nations volunteer works across the UN system and therefore we work in all areas of focus, especially of the Agenda 2030 and across the Sustainable Development Goals. Here in Nepal, we are working with multiple agencies. We are working on issues of youth empowerment. We have a very large majority of our volunteers within the United Nations Development Programme, which has community resilience, which is also continuing working in disaster risk reductions. We're also working with UN Women organization, the United Nations Fund for Population Activities, United Nations AIDS program on the response to communicable disease. We have also volunteers for the International Organization of Migrations and various other partners. In addition to this, we are working closely with a national body that manages volunteers in Nepal to really create and support the structure of Nepal volunteering and to support the goal, especially the National Planning Commission, to really integrate volunteerism in some of the activities of the government of Nepal. And I really believe that this is fundamental, especially with the new constitution and the effort of decentralization that are taking place, to have the capacity, in all the provinces, but also at district levels and municipal level and local level, of expertise to manage, obviously, this decentralization, but also to support the local communities. So volunteers, that they be United Nations volunteers or volunteers from various groups of civil society, can really be instrumental in operationalizing some of these government plans of further decentralization.
विकास प्रक्रियालाई समरूप हिसाबले अगाडि बढाउन विश्वले दिगो विकास लक्ष्यलाई अंगीकार गरेको छ। नेपाल पनि उक्त लक्ष्यको पक्ष राष्ट्र हो र लक्ष्य प्राप्तिका लागि राष्ट्रिय रूपमा नै विविध पहलहरू जारी छ। सन् 2030 सम्म पूरा गरिसक्नुपर्ने यो लक्ष्यहरूका लागि युएनभीले पनि नेपाल सरकारलाई विविध तवरबाट सहयोग गरिरहेको छ।
Obviously, the Agenda 2030 is a very comprehensive agenda, which has, through its 17 objectives, really want to tackle all the issues that are for the common future of the planet. Here in Nepal, I think the group, not only of the United Nations agencies, but also the government, through its national policy, really aims at achieving, to the extent feasible, Agenda 2030 by really empowering the people, providing the basic social services, and having the right governance structure to enable the social cohesion in Nepal, which has been obviously one of the big axes of the work and the reforms that is being led by the government of Nepal. In this, we absolutely are convinced that United Nations volunteer can work. You know, we have volunteers, as I've already mentioned, across the spectrum of the Sustainable Development Goals technical skills, and supports the UN family and the government in Nepal in reaching the Agenda 2030. One advantage of using volunteers, especially Nepali volunteers, is the ability to work with the most excluded and the most vulnerable, and therefore to be able to reach one of the aim of Agenda 2030, which is to leave no one behind.
दिगो विकास लक्ष्य प्रत्येक नागरिकको जीवनको समृद्धिसँग जोडिएको सवाल भएकाले सबैले यसमा आफ्नो तहबाट सहयोग गर्न सके दिगो सामाजिक र आर्थिक विकास हासिल गर्न सकिने उहाँको भनाइ छ।
The Sustainable Development Goal is the agenda of every single person, and each one of us can contribute towards this common agenda by providing, through volunteering in your own community, with your family members, or in a larger scale through your technical abilities, to reaching the Agenda 2030. I think one very important element of this Agenda 2030 is that it has to be multi-stakeholders. So it's not an exclusive agenda of the international community or the government of Nepal. It's an agenda that touches on all the population, all the sectors, especially the private sector, academia, and civil society at large. So my plea is what we've seen, through maybe the two disasters, which is this mobilization of volunteers, of mobilization of people's goodwill and act, of selflessness act, and the spirit behind their engagement needs to be continued if we want to reach the goals.
चाहे प्राकृतिक विपदको सवाल होस् अथवा मानव सृजित विपदको कुरा वा आर्थिक सामाजिक परिवर्तन र विकासको सवाल नै, यी सबैमा मानवीय सहयोगलाई मजबुत बनाउने हो भने सकारात्मक परिणाम हासिल गर्न सकिन्छ। संयुक्त राष्ट्रसङ्घले पनि UN भोलिन्टियरहरूको परिचालन गरी यही उद्देश्य प्राप्त गर्ने प्रयास गरिरहेको छ। इन्टरनेसनल भोलिन्टियर डेको अवसर पारेर हामीले यसैसँग सम्बन्धित सामग्री यहाँ प्रस्तुत गर्यौं।